Hi everyone, welcome to science class today. Today we are going to do the science experiment, cloud in a jar. And I really like this experiment, it's a good one. So I hope you enjoy. But first I want to go over everything that you received in your email or the packet that I sent you. The first thing that you got was the science experiment overview, and it just basically tells you the steps of the scientific method that you would use while doing the experiment itself. And if you are not able to do the experiment or you don't have the materials available to you, then just have your child and you watch this video, and we'll go through the steps together, and when I'm going through a step, you do it too, okay? So the next thing that you got was the experiment itself, and it's really cool because it tells you the materials that you need, steps that you need to do, and then it also gives you a little background on what actually happened during the experiment. So there's that, and then you also got the scientific method that we use for our school. We adapted the scientific method to meet the needs of our students. So there's 4 steps: observe, predict, explore, and check. And I also did different sheets of each step. So there's observe, predict what's going to happen, explore, actually doing the experiment, and checking what happened after. I also put in a worksheet for you guys to complete after doing the experiment. It's just a worksheet about the different types of clouds, and shows like the different clouds that there are in the sky, what they are and what kind of weather they bring. And then I also gave you a sheet that you can cut out with the names of the clouds, and you just have to match the names to the clouds. So that's something fun to do after we do the experiment itself. So now we can do the experiment. So the first step of the scientific method is observe, which is wonder, ask questions, discuss the materials needed for the experiment. So I'm going to get out the sheet that has the observe step of the scientific method, and it says, what do we need? So the first thing we need is a glass jar, which I have here. And you can use any kind of jar. Just make sure that it has the top of it, that it's even, that you can set a bowl or a sheet on it and that it will actually stay. So just make sure. I picked this one because I made dinner a few nights ago with spaghetti sauce, so I just kept this and thought what a great idea to use it instead of having to get a different container and throwing it out or not reusing it. So after I'm done with this, I can reuse it again, or I can recycle. I'm a really big recycle person. And Earth Day was a couple weeks ago, so what a better way to reuse something. So we have the jar, we need black paper, we need tape, warm water, I already have it filled, ice cubes, I filled a bowl full of ice cubes. You can use a metal bowl or a metal baking sheet, a match, my match is right here, and then a flashlight. So these are all the things that you need for the experiment itself. I also have a ruler, just so there's things that they say that you need to measure. So I have the ruler for that reason. So let's do this experiment. Oh wait, nope, we gotta predict first. So jump in too early. So the second step of the scientific method is predict. What will it do? Will a cloud form, or will nothing happen? So right now, predict what's going to happen, and then we will get to this experiment. All right, so the first thing it says to do, it says cut the black paper to fit halfway around the jar. So I already cut the black paper. And then it says leaving about 1 inch of space at the bottom of the jar. So 1 inch, which is right there. So I am going to and that looks about right. About 1 inch. All right, so this is how your jar should look. Only half of the jar should be covered with the black paper. And the black paper is there to, so you can see the cloud better. All right, so next we have to add about 2 inches of water. So here we go again with my ruler. I'm gonna measure 2 inches. And make sure when you're measuring, you are at eye level. You're not holding the glass. Make sure it's on a steady surface or solid surface, because if it's not, you're not gonna get the correct measurement. That looks like 2 inches. All right, so we have our water, we have our jar with the black paper on it. So next it says fill the metal bowl or the tray with ice cubes. So I have my ice cubes. I'm gonna some got stuck. Fill my tray with ice, which gets it cold. So then I have it ready. And then the next thing it says have an adult light a match and hold it inside the jar for a few seconds and then drop it into the water. So here we go. Ready? Oh, that was a dud. Let's try again. There we go. 1, 2, and then drop it. And then you cover the jar with the ice. All right, so now we need to look into the jar from the opposite side. So the black, so you're seeing it this way. And I already see some of the cloud forming. Let's see. When it gets bigger, it will be easier to see. That's what the directions say. So to see the cloud even better, turn off the lights and shine a flashlight into the jar towards the black paper. So let's see if I can do that. Okay. I just see a lot of cloudiness in there, which is good, but I can still see. I know you guys can't see it in the video, but I can see there's like cloud like forming and swirling in there. So it says, you can watch it for a little bit. The cloud. For a little bit. See if I can move it. If you guys can see the cloud in there. It's in there. So then it says once it forms a while, we can take the ice off and see what happens with the cloud once I do that. Ready? Let's do it. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there is smoke or cloud coming up from that. I don't know if you can really even see. Yeah, you can see. All right, you see that? All right, so clouds form when water warms up and it becomes water vapor. So when the sun gets warm and shines on water, the water evaporates and becomes water vapor, and that water vapor rises up to the sky, but when it reaches too high, because it's very cold when you get higher off the ground, and when you get high and it starts to turn cold, it becomes air droplets. And that's how the cloud forms itself. So in our experiment itself, the water was warmed up by the match, and the water became water vapor, rose in the ice cubes. It got cold, so it stopped, it got cold, and it started to form a cloud. And the smoke from the match made it easier to see the cloud, which the clouds on Earth, it's dust. You know, the dust from the Earth, that is how the clouds form. So thought that was pretty cool. And let's do the last part of the experiment. So when we look at the third step of the scientific method, explore, we looked, we listened. Could we hear anything? I wouldn't recommend tasting anything. Could you feel? You could feel the ice cubes. You could feel the warm water. You could feel the glass jar. See if the glass jar warmed up at all when you put the match in or with the warm water. And you could smell. I know when I lit that match, I could smell something a little bit. But once I put it in there, you could really start to smell the match and when it went out. So that is the third step. And the last step is check. What did it do? Did it form cloud or did nothing happen? And I want you to go back to and look at your predictions. Were you right? Did you predict that a cloud was going to form? Or did you predict that nothing was going to form? Well, what actually did happen? A cloud did form in the jar, didn't it? I know it was hard to see, but from here I could see it. And then when I brought it closer to you guys, you could see the cloud rising after I took the ice off. So a cloud did form. And if your prediction was wrong, that's okay. It happens. This is a learning experience. You're not supposed to be right on everything, and it's okay to be wrong. You learn from it and you move on and you do the next experiment, and that's the fun thing about it. You might be wrong. It is okay. So, lastly, I had the cloud worksheets, the type of clouds. So if you guys want to do that, you might be even able to go outside to look at the different clouds outside, and there might be different types of clouds right in your area that you can see. So make sure you do that, and that's it for me. So I hope you guys had a fun time watching this experiment, and I will see you later, okay?